Trump is making a quick pivot from health care to immigration.
That's right. Today, the president targeted undocumented immigrants who commit violent crimes and the so-called sanctuary cities he accuses of harboring them.
KCAL 9 political reporter Dave Bryan has late details on the president's other signature agenda item. Dave?
And it's moving fast. Vote coming tomorrow on this. During a week when the Republican health care plan hit the skids, President Trump is changing the subject tonight to immigration and some tough new bills going after sanctuary cities, many of which are in California, and the House vote is scheduled for tomorrow. One of the pillars of Donald Trump's campaign for president was hammering away at violent illegal immigrants, whom he accused of bringing drugs, crime, and rape to America. It's a theme President Trump has carried over into the opening months of his administration, like this at a rally in Iowa last week about an illegal immigrant gang operating in the U.S.
Every single day, we are finding these gang members, these drug dealers, thieves, robbers, predators, criminals, killers, horrible killers. And we are throwing them the hell out of our country.
Fear can be an effective running mate. It worked in 2016. And on Thursday, the House of Representatives, at the urging of the president, is expected to debate and pass a series of bills that would, among other things, require pretrial detention, presumably without bail, for undocumented immigrants who are accused of killing someone.
Tomorrow, the House will vote on the No Sanctuary for Criminals Act. It's been in the works for a long time. People have wanted it.
To highlight the action, President Trump did allow the cameras in when he met at the White House with family members who lost loved ones in crimes committed by immigrants who were in the country illegally. Among those attending the meeting was Jamil Shaw, who campaigned for President Trump. Shaw's son, a Los Angeles high school football star, was gunned down in cold blood by a gang member who was in the country illegally.
In 2008, my son Jamil Shaw, we called him Jazz, was murdered by an illegal alien that was on his third gun charge. He was in the LA County jail.
President Trump says the bills to be voted on Thursday will force so-called sanctuary cities, many of which are in California, to fully cooperate with ICE or pay the price.
Which will cut federal grant money to cities that shield dangerous criminal aliens from being turned over to federal law enforcement.
Both the LAPD and the LA County Sheriff's Department deny they refuse to cooperate in turning over dangerous and violent criminals to the feds. But the bigger question may be whether undocumented immigrants are responsible for a wave of violent crime like the president has indicated. And a study in March from the Cato Institute, a libertarian think tank, concluded they are not. In fact, the researchers found that both legal and illegal immigrants have incarceration rates far below the rates of native-born Americans, in some cases only 1/3 of the native-born rate. Now, the bills are expected to pass the House tomorrow, but the Senate may be a tougher fight. Republicans have only a slim majority in the Senate, as we know, and 8 Democratic votes would be required procedurally to shut off debate and bring the bills to a vote. Jeff, Elsa, back to you.